Alright, today we're going to look at the video that was supposed to be uploaded last weekend, but I just didn't have time to record the commentary for it. This is from a recording session from quite a while ago now, where I was going through all of the different stat reduction pets and trying to record as many different runs as possible. Mainly because the meta in customs had degenerated to the point where it was basically scaling teams almost exclusively. And when that's the case, the stat reduction pets really come into their own, because you can almost guarantee that you're not going to face a summon team. And so your stat reduction tends not to be wasted on low statted opponents. And we've already had videos using the Black Bear with Anubis. There was another stat reduction one, but it was a while ago. I can't remember what it was. I'll put it up on screen if I can remember which video I'm referring to. But now we're moving on to Calygreyhound, and I've said many times in the past when I've used Calygreyhound in videos, I feel like it's just an ultra strong unit, and yet for some reason in every patch it seems to keep getting buffed. And that's no exception this time. So there was a patch the other day, and I think Calygreyhound got an extra 1 attack or 1 health or something to that effect. And of course these days there are so many more ways to generate mana that the Calygreyhound, it really doesn't have much of a downside, if I'm honest. I guess the only major problem you can have is if the Greyhound gets sniped before the mana gets applied to it, in which case it's not going to do anything. But if you get a decent amount of stats on it, you know, the odds of that happening are fairly low. So in this run, it's kind of an unusual situation here where I've got the 0 gold Bigfoot level 3, and obviously I want the free rolls next turn, so I think I'm going to hold on to it. And we do have a rock in the team to power the Calygreyhound to begin with, but I am going to switch that out later on. And maybe I should say why this this video is so long. The main reason is that I recorded a huge number of runs for this particular combo or build, or variations of builds, because there's going to be a lot of different ones. And the reason for that was that I was having a reasonable amount of success with it, and I just kept on coming up with different versions of it that I wanted to try. And for this first run, and we're going to have 2 runs in this video and then also a bunch of bonus clips as well, I wanted to have 1 Sleipnir and then 2 Calygreyhounds at the front. And I think I've got the right run here, although we only have 1 Greyhound to start with. I think we're going to get another one pretty soon. And as per usual, we're going to use Flounder to start getting that vital experience onto the units. And then we get Quetzalcoatl here, which is incredible because Calygreyhound is a tier 3 unit and all our other units are tier 4 or higher. So the Quetzalcoatl is guaranteed to hit the Cali, and then we can bring in the second Cali and apply the same method to get it to level 3 very quickly. So if we have 2 level 3 Calygreyhounds and then the Sleipnir gives both of them mana, we're going to reduce the stats on basically the 4 largest units on the opposing team. Unless they have a very, very unusual squad, I think that's pretty likely to happen. So I think here I should take the chocolate on the Sleipnir. Okay, that's definitely what we're going to do. Or maybe not. It has been a while since I've watched this video, so I'm sure I'm going to make some mistakes. We end up getting another Quetzal, although I think it's maybe not going to be necessary. And I'm taking the deer because if we're going to be reducing the stats to very, very low levels on the opposing team, then Chili is extremely useful, and the bus is often going to get multiple KOs as a result of that. Now here, since we got rid of the rock, we actually don't have particularly high mana output from the Sleipnir yet, so we do end up losing here. But not to worry, because we're just going to keep concentrating stats onto the Sleipnir, and each time we do that, it's going to make a big difference in terms of the stat reduction potential from the Callies. So I think I should just take one of the frozen Sleipnirs here. Yep. And really, I think I'm just rolling for mushroom on the deer, because that's going to make a big difference. In the last battle, I think we avoided getting a KO because they had melon and the chili didn't do any damage through it. But here we end up facing Broken Bench, an extremely rare Frostwolf Anubis team from Bench. But we're going to win regardless. And I think, yeah, we'll take the popcorn. I can't remember all the perks that I had in this pack, but luckily here we also roll double chocolate. So we can take a level on the Cali to guarantee that the other Cali will take the experience from the Quetzal. So now we've got the setup going. We've got the double level 3 Cali. And unfortunately here we actually do run into one of the rare summon teams. Extremely rare, I was finding it when I was recording this, to actually face any summon squads, even with Jersey Devil still being ludicrously broken. And so we do lose there and go down to 1 heart. I'm not sure if that would have made any difference if we'd had the level 3 deer. I think they had too much protective equipment there. So I end up taking the Phoenix, which is pretty solid for tying if we don't manage to win. And we're getting good luck with chocolate in the shop. But I still do want the mushroom on the deer. I can't remember if I'm going to get it or not. Another summon team. So suddenly they all come out of the woodwork when really, I think ideally I wanted to farm a bunch of clips with this where I was wiping, Leviathan or Rabbit teams. But it's just so often the case that when you go for those particular opponents that you want to face, the game just doesn't serve them up. But luckily there it was a tie. So we're going to take almost level 3 Phoenix. Still no mushroom in sight. Maybe I forgot to put it in the pack. I don't know. I haven't been paying too much attention to the food shop. The mushroom obviously doesn't do anything on Calygreyhound with this particular setup because it would come back to life with no mana. But that is something that we can look at in one of the future runs. Now we do win here. It wasn't really a massive statted team. Okay, here is the mushroom. So now having got the mushroom, all we care about is buying the stat food onto Sleipnir to maximize the amount of mana and the stat reduction from the 2 Calis. And then look at the size of this team. Massive scaled team with double Farmer Dog and the level 2 Chimpanzee. Of course the Rabbit. With the update, this has been nerfed significantly, which is good to see. And then the popcorn ends up giving us the Harpy Eagle, which ends up removing one of their units, and we win by virtue of the Phoenix summon. I'm pretty sure finding the mushroom at the end there was vitally important for getting that victory. Now on to the next run. Again, we're picking it up quite late, turn 9. This time we're going to try and do something with Calygreyhound plus mushroom. So I think I'm only going to have 1 Cali in this particular game, and we can play it up the front and then give it the mushroom. So when it comes back to life, an amalgamation is able to give it another dose of mana, and we should get the level 3 effect twice. I can't remember if I have any other mana generators in the team this time, but of course you can't just buy mana potions in the shop to make sure that the Cali always has an effect on its first feint. And actually there, we ended up facing opposing amalgamation. So I think what's going to happen here is I'm going to roll down and find a Venus flytrap. So we end up getting the 3rd Cyclops, and then I find the Venus flytrap, so we're going to buy-sell it in order to get an amalgamation. Now I don't quite have enough gold here to buy it, so I think I'm just going to save it for next turn and assume that we're going to lose here. Now we do end up finding another amalgamation in the shop, which is very fortunate, and another Calygreyhound, but I think I'm not going to bother with it. I'm just going to go for the single Cali with the mushroom. Now it doesn't have much mana left, but it still actually makes a difference there, I think, because we reduce the jellyfish down to the point where it's going to get knocked out, and we end up winning anyway, even with such a weak looking 4 squad. So we're going to use the double Cyclops to try and get the amalgamation to level 3. We do get an oyster, but I think, am I going to take the oyster here? probably I should just hold the oyster in the shop and keep both Cyclops. But I guess since the amalgamation is on the cusp of level 3 anyway, the double Cyclops isn't really going to do anything. I guess I'm going to take Phoenix again. You can see that Deer and Phoenix were both common teammates for the Calygreyhound. Obviously, the crisp from the Phoenix can often help knock out units that have had their stats reduced, especially in the backline. So here, for example, you can see the Dolphin gets crisp and it gets removed. Although, unfortunately, the melon from the turtle still results in a loss. So now I think the Cyclops can just go. We'll use the oyster to get some extra gold. Unfortunately, the buy-selling does use up the amalgamation triggers. However, since we're getting the chocolate, we're actually going to reset the triggers anyway. So we are going to be able to get some extra attack onto a unit. And there we find the mushroom. So here I could actually just play the 4 squad again. We do find another amalgamation as well. So now the Calygreyhound is mushroomed. It's not going to do anything on its first feint, but when it comes back, it's going to get a huge amount of mana from the amalgamation, and it's going to reduce the stats on the opponent by a pretty sizable amount. And so again, the 4 squad takes the win. But we're not satisfied with that. We're going to use the fly trap, I think. Maybe we're going to use the fly trap again, or maybe I'll just take the amalgamation. If we use the fly trap, of course, we're going to waste another amalgamation trigger, but really we only care about the one resummon from the Calygreyhound. It doesn't matter too much if the bus, for instance, doesn't get any mana, or the Phoenix summon. Maybe I'll end up moving the Phoenix to the back. I can't remember what happens. But we're definitely taking the mushroom on the Deer again, and we get the mana potion, so the Calygreyhound does have the opportunity to activate twice. And yeah, you can see I moved the Phoenix to the back. The amalgamations should actually end up giving mana to the resummoned Deer, I think. So 16 mana, we put both the stats down to 1, although they actually have a Warthog here, so it ends up building their stats back up again. But I think it's not going to matter. So yeah, not quite a massive stat team, but that was Bird of Paradise plus Sauropod, which is one of the most common combos that you see. And I think I froze the orange here simply because one of the amalgamations has a very poor health, and I would rather that it didn't get sniped. Maybe I should just be looking for more mushrooms, and I should unfreeze the orange. Now, yeah, I was also looking for a small one, and the intention was with a lot of these runs to, I think I recorded a few like this where we had the double amalgamation and the Cali at the front. And then I really wanted to bring in the small one and also have a mushroom on it. So the Calygreyhound would double activate, reduce the stats on the opponents. And then the small one's ability is on summoned rather than faint. So you need a mushroom on it for it to work at all. However, in order to avoid us ruining our own team, I actually had to feed the Deer some milk there to make sure that it wouldn't be KO'd by bringing the small one into the team. Now I think here we're going to lose because they have almost 50-50 trumpets. Oh, actually, it's going to be a win. Yeah, they did have the Nutcracker toy, but we still ended up winning, which was a bit surprising. But I can't remember if I actually bother with the small one here or not, because we can't do anything with it until we get the mushroom. So I may actually just sell the cow and bring in a third amalgamation to try and just get the maximum amount of mana possible onto the Calygreyhound. Although it might seem like it's a waste, you can easily face teams that have behemoths of 70 plus health or even more. So again, we're just going to take the cow. I combined them together there to avoid wasting one of the amalgamation triggers. So here we go. It is a large statted team, although not nearly as big as the one from the last run. We reduce all their stats down. They do have the double gorilla, but it's not really going to do anything when they have so few stats left to speak of. And the triple amalgamation We actually end up getting the ribbon there as well, plus Calygreyhound takes the win. So now we'll move on to the bonus footage. Here's one against this massive Leviathan team, and it's pretty satisfying if I do say so myself. The Leviathan gets taken down to 1 health, so the bus knocks it out, and then the Sleipnir has just enough attack to knock out the Team Spirit. That was exactly what I was trying to farm in terms of clips, but it actually ended up being pretty rare that I would face one of those teams that I was specifically looking for. Here's a variation with Rhino. So the Calygreyhounds are going to reduce the health on these units to 1, and then the Rhino, of course, is just going to snipe the whole lot. Not necessarily the most spectacular round, but I felt like that was a fun game nonetheless. And then here's another one with double amalgamation and the mushroom on the Calygreyhound. So the massive level 3 behemoth gets removed with virtually no problems at all. And then we have the boar with the mana snipe ends up taking care of a unit, and it's a win by virtue of the popcorn. I always think it's funny seeing the end screen with spooked on some of your units, even if amalgamation gives it to everything that you buy. And then here's one against this Lamprey team. Actually, I was facing this person a lot. I think they were farming achievements with Mantis plus the Spinosaurus. But we do have the small one with Mushroom here, and it ends up taking out the Mantis. I think we were going to win anyway. But I was determined to get some better small one clips. So I think here's one that worked out a little bit better. We end up facing this very unusual team with 4 peanuts and a level 3 Chihuahua. And they end up pulling the Phoenix to the front, so all of the peanuts get covered over by the crisp, and we end up winning with the small one not really having to do anything at all. So yeah, that was an incredibly fun session in terms of the recording process. I feel like Amalgamation is just one of the best additions to the game that they've made in quite some time.